Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We have a new filing by Justin's team dealing with Blake going for lawyers' fees and treble damages. We have Taylor Swift in the news. Allegedly, Justin Baldoni sent this ex-cop process server over the secure gated community fencing to try and serve her at 2 a.m. at Travis Kelce's house when we really have no proof that she was at Travis Kelce's house. We have that. And y'all are going to want to make sure you're subscribed. I'm doing it pre-recorded because I have so many screens and I need to flip through. What I'm going to do is just have like clips of what I'm looking at up on the screen to show you guys. But there is kind of an explosive video coming about Jed Wallace later. You guys you're going to want to see it. You're going to want to see it. So make sure to like and subscribe. But I have to start with a feel-good story, guys. I have to start with a feel-good story. This just took me out this morning. I laughed so hard I was crying. So I had to share it with you guys. Sometimes you just need a laugh. Sometimes you just need a laugh. Serial attacker squirrel puts 2 people in the ER after pouncing on California residents. I was full of blood. I shouldn't laugh. But there was literally warnings about this squirrel posted everywhere. Like, attack, squirrel, beware. This is not a joke. More than 5 people have been attacked by this very mean squirrel over the past few days. I just, can anyone else relate to the squirrel sometimes? I mean, I can relate to the squirrel. Sometimes you just don't want to deal with people. But some California residents are on high alert after a series of squirrel attacks have sent individuals to the emergency room. Look at the scratch marks on this woman. This squirrel's like, screw y'all. I'm done. I am done with your bullshit. Stay away from me. I wonder if someone was like feeding the squirrel and then it got a little bit too comfortable being around people. And then if you didn't give it the snacks that it wanted, it would just attack. It kind of sounds like me. I'm not going to lie. It kind of sounds like me. Just if you don't give me my snackies, then, I get upset. How are you guys doing? It's so nice to see everyone again. We're going to dive into just this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni mess of Blake trying to go for treble damages. We're going to dive into it. Welcome to anyone that's new. My name is Ashley Brianna Eve. I have over 15 years of experience in branding, marketing, and PR, and we use it to go behind the trending pop culture stories. And sometimes we just like gossiping about the goings on. But let's look at what's going on here. I said just this morning to people, I said, oh my goodness, I can't even sleep anymore. I go to sleep, I wake up, and there's a million documents. I also have so much I'm working on behind the scenes. Jed Wallace, one of them, which will come later today. I have a Tom Hanks video that I still need time to record. There's just so much that I need to do. But this went up on the docket yesterday, and this is response in opposition to motion for attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages under California Civil Code 47.1. And this is defendant, so Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer and Co., opposition to plaintiff's motion for attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages. Turns out they did a deposition with Blake's makeup artist even on set, which interestingly enough, if you look up the makeup artist on set of It Ends With Us, it is also the makeup artist on A Simple Favor, Another Simple Favor, and I believe multiple Ryan Reynolds projects as well. So it'll be interesting to see what that makeup artist had to say. But let's dive into this. For the second time, plaintiff Blake Lively seeks draconian relief under a new California statute, California Civil Code 47.1, which creates a qualified privilege for any person claiming SH under defined California statutes, including FEHA and California Civil Code 51.9. Section 47.1 authorizes an award of reasonable attorney. There is no way Blake's attorney's fees are reasonable. I don't even care. There's no way they are reasonable. Hello. Oh my goodness. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces. Hi, Glow. It's so nice to see you guys. Hello, guys. There's no way she has a reasonable attorney fees. But this is what 47.1 says, that they can get an award of it. treble damages, and punitive damages for a failed defamation claim against a party asserting SH claims without malice and a reasonable basis to file a complaint of SA harassment or discrimination. Thus, whether the privilege and remedies afforded by Section 47.1 apply turn not on the Wayfarer party's underlying conduct, but on Lively's motive and intent, i.e., whether Lively asserted the claims without malice. Oh, thank you. Someone said it. And with reasonable basis, factual issues that remain to be tried in the main case. Finally, someone is saying it. Blake, did you file with malice? Did you assert these claims with malice? I don't know, girl. Did you go to the New York Times with malice? Hello, guys. It's so nice to see everyone. Thank you for joining in the chat today. Oh, yeah, Blake. You're something, Blake. I'm losing words for her. She's exhausting. I can't imagine being tied into working with this woman, let alone litigation with this woman. Although I guess I had a small taste with the subpoena. I need all the coffee today, guys. The dogs have decided sleeping, why sleep past 4 a.m.? Why? No reason to sleep past 4 a.m. I am tired. As explained in Section 2A below Section 47.1's express language raises multiple constitutional concerns, which have not been addressed by any California or other court, including its curtailment of free speech and a litigant's right to petition guaranteed by the First Amendment, as well as potential violations of the Fourth Amendment's prohibition against excessive penalties, treble and punitive. Further, Lively does not explain why California's presumption against extraterritorial jurisdiction does not apply to Section 47.1 when Lively is not a California resident and the alleged harassment, which is the basis of her claims, occurred in New York and on New York or New Jersey set where It Ends With Us was filmed. This is what I don't understand. I am so happy that people are calling this out. That's being called out in the legal documents. Like, girl, what is going on with California? You made such a fuss, Blake, over Flower Jeans, New York Babe, or whatever it was, that stupid ass Instagram post that you're using as proof that Jed Wallace should have known you were in New York. All you're doing is doubling down on New York, but you keep pulling California into it. Someone help me with this making sense, because it makes literally no sense to me. I don't understand. Blake is just, I'm going to take a little from there and a little from there and a little from here and make this bullshit soup of a case on what benefits me, which is on brand for her. But I'm glad someone's calling her out point blank for that. The footnote here says the statute also applies to claims for violations of certain sections of California's education code, which are inapplicable here. Baldoni's WME agent, Danny Greenberg, testified. Who is dying to have some of this unsealed? I am dying. Yes, coffee. Oh my gosh. Today is a day for lots of coffee. Yeah, we can't because it makes zero sense. I agree. It makes zero sense. I am dying for some of this to be unsealed. So apparently Danny had something to say, who was Justin Baldoni's WME agent. And this was Ellen Garofalo that did the declaration of Danny. Dying to see. Section 47.1, which took effect on January 1st, 2024, has not been addressed in a single published judicial decision, which is crazy. Thus, any decision by this court on the interpretation and applicability of Section 47.1 would be its first impression. So you're asking and again, I'm not even American, so throw it in the fuck it bucket if this means nothing. But you're asking a New York federal judge to make the very first ever ruling on a California code? The fact that Blake will just pull things out of thin air to support her narrative, in my opinion, tells you everything you need to know about Blake. Lively, the statute, and its legislative history are also silent on whether these remedies are available for dismissal of a consolidated complaint, where the issues of liability and punitive damages have not yet been determined by the trier of fact. The extreme remedies created by Section 47.1 require factual findings that Lively asserted her claims without malice and with a reasonable basis. This inquiry turns on Lively's motives, to wit, whether her complaints of sexual harassment were made with malice and with reasonable basis. I mean, is there even any question that they were made with malice? Oh, man. She is just factual determinations within the province of a jury or the court on summary adjudication based on admissible evidence. No trier of fact has made these factual determinations. Although Lively contends that to be effective, the remedy should be imposed at the early stage of the litigation. Of course she does. Neither the statutory language nor its legislative history address the dismissal of a consolidated complaint before the complaint's SH claims are tried in the main action. I almost wonder, I don't know. Now, this is just me thinking out loud. Is she trying to, is she setting this up for trying to get out of the main case? I don't know. Is she setting it up for trying to get out of the main case? Because it's the only thing I can make sense of. Why are you trying to get this now when the main case hasn't finished? Not that I think Justin would, and hopefully he wouldn't let her out of it. Thank you, Leo. Like the stream. Yes, please. I don't know. Or she's just Blake and makes rules up as she goes, which is also possible. Lively nevertheless contends that Section 47.1's remedies must be available at the earliest stage, typically through a motion to dismiss to protect survivors from a punishing, protracted legal process. Here, however, neither the dismissal of the Wayfarer party's defamation claim nor an award of penalties under Section 47.1 would achieve this statutory goal of preventing ongoing, protracted litigation over the same factual issues which determine the applicability of Section 47.1. So it says here, the footnote, the Wayfarer party's claims were initially filed as a separate action, but have now been consolidated with Lively's complaint. So no California court has provided guidance on this issue. I feel like the first person to rule on this should be a California court, but what do I know? Including whether a court's determination before trial in the context of Section 47.1 of the complaint's motive and intent would divest a defendant of his right to defense at trial or by summary adjudication based on admissible evidence. So they talk about the main action still pending. Says, for instance, if this court applies Section 47.1's privilege and remedies at this early juncture, what happens if a jury later finds her claims lack merit? That is a great question. So say you say yes to treble damages, punitive damages, you go through the main action and the jury's like, no, girl. No. Then what? Nor has any California court explained how punitive or treble damages can be calculated without a baseline finding of actual compensatory damages by the trier of fact. Good point. Lively, in fact, does not directly address the key issues of her motive and intent. Yes, but deflects by recycling the full breadth of her allegations of the Wayfarer party's purported misconduct, which are the basis for pending Rule 11, New York Rule of Professional Conduct 3.6 sanctions motions. The bulk of these allegations have no bearing on the discrete factual issues relevant to Section 47.1 analysis. Specifically, whether Lively had a reasonable basis for her sexual harassment claim and acted without malice in inserting it. For instance, Lively argues that the court dismissed the Wayfarer party's defamation claim against Ryan Reynolds and Leslie Sloan for failure to plead malice, sufficient evidence of a smear campaign, and strong evidence that the Wayfarer party spread negative stories about Lively. What strong evidence? There has been no evidence. There has been no evidence. Now, here's the thing. Y'all, I have my issues with Jed Wallace, and we're going to go into my issues with Jed Wallace tonight. I'm going to have a pre-recorded video for you guys up on that. But I don't think he did those things here. I've been looking. I've been able to tie him through some interesting situations. I don't think he did these things here. And there sure as shit wasn't like a smear campaign website that was set up, because we would have heard about it. So, Blake, where is this proof Strong evidence, sorry, she says, that the Wayfarer party spread negative stories about Lively. We just don't like you. We did it for them. Thank you so much, Glow. She'll hit the appeals court. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No doubt about that. No doubt. I feel like she's just the type that just won't give up. Like dog with a bone, she'll keep going. Whether the court found that the complaint failed to plead malice sufficient to state a defamation claim against Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Stoner, and the New York Times, or spread negative stories about Lively is relevant to Lively's motive and intent in asserting her claims. And the court did not dismiss the Wayfarer party's defamation claim against Lively for failure to plead malice. Rather, the court found that Lively's complaint, the only basis for the defamation claim asserted in the cross complaint, was privileged under California's litigation and fair report privileges, and thus was unnecessary to reach the issue of malice. Notwithstanding Lively's exhaustive and exhausting, no, I just added that, rehashing of the full breadth of her allegations, the motion before the court remains short on the relevant factual issues and devoid of legal authority that might allow the court to award the punitive remedies provided in Section 47.1 at this stage of the litigation. Lively's motion should be denied because, among other things, she fails to show that Section 47.1 of the Civil Code applies. She fails to present new facts. Because there are none. Blake just keeps reiterating the exact same thing over and over and over again because that's all she has, which is nothing. No trier of fact has found, based on admissible evidence, that Lively's claims were asserted without malice and with a reasonable basis. Yeah. I still want to know Van Zandt. I still want more information on this whole Van Zandt of it all, because I think the whole Van Zandt of it all will prove actual malice. I think that's where you're going to get the actual malice from. I don't know how they keep going with it. The judge seems to just like ignore it. Judge hasn't been touching it. Legacy media doesn't touch it. But to me, and maybe they found something. So maybe that's why they're really doubling down. Like maybe something Wayfarer came up in discovery. And that's why they're doubling down on this fact of like, yeah, but what if Blake has malice? Maybe something came out. We're not seeing it all, right? So maybe something did come out. She fails to show no trier of fact has found clear and convincing evidence of malice required for punitive damages. Plaintiff has not proven, and no trier of fact has found the actual compensatory damages required as a basis to calculate treble or punitive damages. Well, and that's true too. And God knows what her legal bills are, and how do you sort through that as what's reasonable and what's not anyway? I mean, what, she's going to charge Justin Baldoni for her going after 10 content creators, for her sending 3 lawyers to take on Perez Hilton in Vegas? You know, she's going to try and put everything on there. Plaintiff's motion should be denied. No California or other court has addressed the constitutional concerns and conflicts apparent from the face of Section 47.1. Plaintiff's motion. And another thing that I need to interrupt myself. Another thing I noticed, where are all these organizations that spoke out for Blake at one point? Have you guys noticed they've been silent? Bzz. I haven't seen any of those organizations say anything recently. I might have missed it, but it seems like everyone was a little quiet. Plaintiff's motion implicates 2 California statutes. So we have 47.1 and then California statutes, including FEHA and Civil Code 51.9, Civil Code 3294, California's punitive damages statute. She seeks remedies under California Civil Code 47.1, which provides for severe penalties for unsuccessfully filing retaliatory defamation action against SH and retaliation complaints. This is the thing that gets me too. How do you know it's retaliatory? Like, for me, what I believe is Blake Lively is the retaliatory one. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds didn't get what they wanted, so they are the ones that retaliated. Silent since JB's dismissal. Yeah. I don't think any of them even responded to Blake when she bragged and tagged on social. I don't think she did either. Blake and her team, they're so exhausting. I agree. According to plaintiff, the recently enacted Section 47.1 was intended to deter frivolous claims that force survivors to defend against long and expensive retaliatory defamation lawsuits by imposing significant remedies for success defendants in defamation claims. It was intended to protect victims from the litigation itself. Yeah, Blake with her garden variety emotional distress now. She's also originally, she was so traumatized by all of this, she couldn't leave her house. And then she was like, oh shit, I actually have to like back that up. I actually have to provide proof of that. What do you mean proof? Just kidding, JKing. It was just garden variety emotional distress. As a preliminary matter, Lively does nothing to address the constitutional concerns and conflicts raised by Section 47.1's express language. First, Section 47.1 conflicts with the right to free speech and petition guaranteed by the First Amendment to the United States. Blake doesn't care. Blake doesn't care about the First Amendment. The First Amendment only applies to her, you see. Oh, Justin and Wayfarer. Silly that you think the First Amendment applies to you too. Oh. It only applies to Blake and Ryan. Justin, you guys, you can't sue over hurt feelings. You don't have a First Amendment right. Blake and Ryan can sue over hurt feelings and have a First Amendment right, but not you guys. Keep up. So ridiculous. Section 47.1 also clashes with the Pennington Doctrine, which provides that those who petition any department of the government for redress are generally immune from statutory liability for their petitioning conduct. Oh, Blake's just like the PR campaign that she's going to have either way ready on the other side of this. Just be prepared, guys. No matter what the ruling is, she's going to have one ready. They probably already have it ready. By imposing a statutory penalty on plaintiffs for unsuccessfully bringing certain types of lawsuits, even when they do so in good faith, Section 47.1 appears to trespass on this Pennington immunity doctrine. She fails to address how Section 47.1 can be reconciled with the California Civil Code. Yep. She doesn't care. Whatever Blakey wants, Blake thinks she should get. There's 22 pages, so we're not going to read every word. Third, plaintiff fails to explain how Section 47.1 should or can be applied when, as here, a defamation claim is dismissed at the pleading stages before the dispositive factual issues of whether plaintiff's claims were asserted with malice and without a reasonable basis, issues of fact within the province of the jury. The plethora of serious constitution and other legal questions have not been addressed by any California court, raising the preliminary questions of whether this court, as a matter of first impression, should apply Section 47.1 to impose the draconian remedies of attorney fees, treble damages, and punitive damages without any answer to or even guidance on these critical questions and concerns. It may have been for some or all of these reasons that the court has already declined to award Lively the relief she seeks under 47.1, albeit without prejudice. Yeah. Blake will keep trying. If there's without prejudice, Blake's going to keep trying. I'm genuinely, I can't figure out if it's an issue of the client being so out of touch with reality and forcing the lawyers to do what she wants, or they're just all so corrupt and disgusting that none of them care. In doing so, the court explicitly noted that it had not ruled on whether Lively's statements were privileged under California Civil Code 47.1, and that if Lively chose to renew her motion, she should fully brief the impact of the opinion, if any, as well as the issues raised in prior briefing. While Lively now resuscitates her motion with an extensive exposition of the facts asserted in prior pleadings in the order, she does not cite new facts or law relevant to whether she had a reasonable basis for her claims, her SH claims. Blake's forgotten. Of course, you're not going to get anything because Blake's forgotten this is about SH. Blake has completely forgotten. I am convinced of it, that this started with SH. I am starting to be convinced that Stephanie Jones used Blake Lively to try and figure out who said, like, I genuinely am starting to think Stephanie Jones, this whole shit was started by her as a means to an end. And Blake took the bait, like a little fishy in the ocean, took the bait. Because Stephanie, I think at the end of the day, she just wants to figure out who created those websites against her. but she's starting to get to the bottom of through all of this mess. And Blake's just being hung out to dry. I don't know. Blake's got to wake up. I think her team isn't necessarily on her side. Simply put, nothing has changed since the order and Lively, and this renewed motion appears to be nothing more than an improper request for reconsideration, seemingly contrived as a thinly veiled effort to poison public perception in the potential jury pool. At best, the motion is premature. B, plaintiff fails to show that Section 47.1 or Civil Code 3294 may be applied extraterritorially. Yeah, Blake's just like, I'm just going to pick what laws apply, while also arguing with Jed Wallace that he should know that I'm in New York because I post from New York and I have a penthouse in New York. So they're just going over the laws in California. Like, girl, why are you saying everything happened in New York, but dragging California into this? So Lively doesn't point to any language in Section 47.1 or any portion of legislative history that even hints at an intent that the statute has extraterritorial application. The only thing I can come up with is she went for this to really play that Darvo, Me Too, and let me know what you guys think in the chat and in the comments. The only thing I can come up with is the only reason she's playing this California code is to be really leaning into the Me Too aspect, the Darvo. That was what she was doing in the beginning. Her whole PR campaign is no matter what Justin said, her headlines the next day were Darvo, Me Too, abusers playbook. You can go back and you can track it. It's so predictable. Every time he said or did anything, that's what came up. And I do believe this is the only thing I can come up with. The 47.1 also was like a weaselly way to get certain organizations to back her. Because there's certain organizations that obviously have stake in 47.1 being alive and well in the courts that have advocated it for some time. And so I genuinely believe that it was just this twisted, weaselly way to project this Me Too Darvo abusers handbook bullshit, while also being able to leverage or get like her claws into organizations that might back her. I don't know. That's all I can come up with. I still want to hear the investigators report, the ones Baldoni hired. Yes, that'd be really cool to find out what they found. In fact, Section 47.1 does not include any affirmative indication that it was intended to apply to conduct outside of California. See, and that's what I think. I genuinely think it was more of a PR play than anything. Yeah, she's the victim. Play the victim. Her team isn't on her side with the judges. Yeah. Agree with that. Someone, I don't know. It just, something doesn't add up. And I wouldn't put it past, again, just my opinion, wouldn't put it past Stephanie Jones to have stirred up this hornet's nest as a way to get to the bottom of what is going on with the Stephanie Jones lies, Stephanie Jones is a liar websites. I wouldn't be surprised. And what are the chances that text messages come out to help Amanda Ghost and her defamation case against Rebel Wilson, but there's still nothing that's come out to prove they use those tactics on Blake? It's just wild. Thank you so much, Glow. You're so kind. Like her mentor, Amber Heard, Blake Lively likes using true victims as her stamp to stomp on, or her as her stage to stomp on. You got it. And I genuinely think, Glow, that's a great point. I think she learned from Amber as well, because Amber didn't have litigation privilege. So I think she did learn from that, because everything, they went back, they got that Van Sham, which I don't understand how that isn't in some kind of like criminal court. I genuinely don't understand. Absent the express or implied showing of an intent extraterritorially, Lively must establish a substantial connection between the situs of the legally relevant conduct and California specifically, the location of where the core of the alleged wrongful conduct occurred. Just be prepared, guys. She's ready either way. If she gets denied this, she's going to have a PR campaign. If she gets approved this, she'll have a PR campaign. It's just a heads up. Unfortunately, she's going to be ready either way. She'll spin it. Neither Lively's complaint nor the motion state facts sufficient to establish a substantial connection between the Wayfarer defendant's unsuccessful defamation complaint filed and dismissed by a New York court or the underlying SH claims, which would give rise to the privilege she seeks to invoke. Lively is a New York resident, as she continually hammers on about. The core conduct alleged SH it ends with a set and the filing and dismissal of the Wayfarer party's unsuccessful defamation claim, the basis for Lively's request for remedies under Section 47.1, did not occur in California, but in. Why would that be redacted? See Declaration of Ellen S. Garofalo, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. While Wayfarer is headquartered in Los Angeles, the employer or employer's residency is not sufficient to overcome the presumption when the tortious conduct is outside of California. So she's trying to say just because their headquarters in Los Angeles, that is ridiculous. But why would that be redacted? That's weird. The failure to demonstrate, not weird as in like, it's just me thinking out loud. I want to know what's behind it. The failure to demonstrate a substantial connection between the status of the core conduct in California defeats any notion that Section 47.1 or 3294 can be applied extraterritorially. C, Section 47.1 cannot apply where, as here, there are no factual findings that Lively's claims were asserted without malice and with a reasonable basis. Yes, I agree. Section 47.1 creates a privilege for communication made by an individual without malice regarding an incident of sexual A or H or discrimination is privileged, so long as the speaker has or at any time had reasonable basis to file complaint of those things. The Wayfarer defendant's defamation claim was dismissed pursuant to Rule 12b-6 for failure to state a claim. The order dismissing the claim expressly states that the court did not consider whether the Wayfarer parties pleaded malice, but dismissed the claim based on privileged grounds. Plaintiff's harassment claims remain pending, and the merit of those claims, as well as Lively's motive and intent in asserting them. They keep saying that. I don't think they've said that much before. I wonder what they have. Do you guys think they have something from Discovery? Because I haven't seen them hammer on about like, but her motives, but her intent. Maybe I've missed it. Maybe I'm just going crazy because I've read way too much in regards to this case. I mean, we've been going since we're almost at a year, guys. This is wild. I don't know. I feel like they have something. Will ultimately be decided by the trier of fact, a jury or the court in the context of summary adjudication. Indeed, a centerpiece of the Wayfarer party's defense is that Lively's claims have no merit and were asserted with an improper purpose. The jury must resolve the threshold question of the defendant's knowledge of facts on which his or her claim is based. Lively similarly fails to identify new facts that might support her motion because she doesn't have any. D, plaintiff has not proven that she is entitled to punitive damages under Section 3294. When a plaintiff who proves his case isn't always entitled to actual damages, a plaintiff is never entitled to punitive damages as a matter of right, not even upon the clearest proof of malice in fact. For an award of punitive damages under California Civil Code 3294, a plaintiff must prove by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant acted with malice, oppression, or fraud in bringing the defamation cross-complaint. Malice is defined by Section 3294, subdivision C1, as conduct which is intended by the defendant to cause injury to the plaintiff, or despicable conduct which is carried on by the defendant with a willful and conscious disregard of the rights or safeties of others. I don't know, guys. She has nothing. Put another way, the defendant must have actual knowledge of the risk of harm it is creating, and in the face of the knowledge, failed to take steps it knows will reduce or eliminate the risk of harm. In the defamation context, to show actual malice, plaintiffs must demonstrate a defendant either knew his statements were false or subjectively entertained serious doubt about his statements was truthful. So they're saying this is a heavy burden to reach. Whether a defendant acted with malice is an issue of fact for the jury, and it is within the exclusive province of the jury to say whether or not punitive damages shall be rewarded. Blakey, you should have stopped fighting it and just gone to court with Ryan Reynolds against Justin. She wants her cake and to eat it too. and the granting or withholding of punitive damages may not legally be influenced by any direction of the court. Plaintiff simply ignores the requirements that malice be proven with clear and convincing evidence. Any finding of malice and punitive damages is within the exclusive province of the jury, and the court is prohibited from influencing the jury's decision on whether to award punitive damages. E, plaintiff fails to explain how, in the absence of actual damages, the court can calculate punitive or treble damages. Oh, Blake. Punitive damages typically require a finding of actual compensatory damages. Conclusion. For all these reasons, Brian and Ellen say you need to deny this shit because it's a bunch of BS. She needs authorship. Oh, does she either? Yeah, she does. It's exhausting to deal with her, and I'm not even in court. I'm not even on the movie set with her. I don't know how. Well, and that's the thing. Look what happened. People ended up in the hospital over her. Justin ended up in the hospital, likely from stress. Apparently, Jed Wallace had issues. Jed, though. Oh, Jed. Oh, Jed. Wait till you see the video coming tonight. Oh, Jed. It's just... And then we have here, Ellen does her declaration of who she is. She deposed. So this is so interesting. Vivian Baker, Blake Lively's makeup artist, true and correct copies of excerpts from the transcript of Miss Baker's deposition are attached. Now, let me see if I can find it. I pulled it up on my phone, but... Yeah, we'll look at that in a second. So Vivian Baker, Blake Lively's makeup artist. I mean, that's a risky job too, because Blake accused a previous makeup artist of SH. So I hope you're not using your finger to put on her lipstick, Vivian. 3, on September 18th, 2025, I deposed third-party Warren Gavila, Miss Lively's talent agent and WME representative. True and correct copies are attached. That's Exhibit B. And 4, on September 19th, 2025, I deposed third-party Danny Greenberg, Justin Baldoni's former talent agent at WME, and they attach pieces of that as well. And that's all under seal. So we see it here. I'm dying for it to be unsealed. But look at this. Let me find it. Oh my gosh. I have so many. I know I always have a lot of browsers open, but I have extra today because I need them all open for Jed Wallace. So I cannot close these. You know, here, Blake and Ryan, their people were all over this set. All up in that set. She bragged about it on podcast interviews after. Oh, yeah, he worked with me on, this person worked with me on Taylor Swift's video, and this person worked on Deadpool, and that person worked on Deadpool. Well, Vivian, who obviously said something, Vivian always uses a makeup brush to put lipstick on, by the way. She learned that that is a risky job working for Blake. But she worked with Blake on another simple favor. It Ends With Us. She did Spirited, makeup artist for Ryan Reynolds. I mean, she's done a lot of stuff, but The Adam Project, makeup artist for Ryan Reynolds. Red Notice, makeup artist for Ryan Reynolds. Free Guy, makeup artist for Ryan Reynolds. The Rhythm Section, makeup effects and designer for Miss Lively. Makeup artist for Miss Lively. Simple Favor, Miss Lively. She does a lot for Chris Pratt. All I See Is You, Blake Lively. Selfless, Ryan Reynolds. Heck, Blake Lively. Like, they go back. I mean, obviously, she said something that was beneficial to Justin because they included it in an exhibit to fight their case against why Blake does not deserve all this, the damages and punitive damages, treble charges, attorney's fees, and all that. So she must have said something that is beneficial to Justin's side. But like, she's all up in the Reynolds business. She seems to be like the makeup artist for them. I don't know, because no other makeup artist wants to work with Blake after the allegations previously. I don't know, but it's interesting. Oh, I did not hear about this. I wonder if this is a makeup artist months ago Ryan Reynolds threatened because they were not available for him. Does anyone remember that? I don't remember that. Interesting. I'll have to look into that though. So yes, regardless, Vivian has been with them for quite some time. And it looks like she was already deposed. Something came out. The WME agents were deposed. Something came out that they're using to say Blake doesn't deserve to be awarded damages. I want to know. Sorry, chat. I'm unhinged right now. I'll simmer. Oh, geez. Don't make me bring back Nightbot. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we'll bring back Nightbot one day. All right, guys. We're going to flip over to Taylor. Blakey's doing Blakey things. All of this is going to be, actually, let's see quick what Blake's doing in the news. Probably it's just all swamped with Taylor stuff, to be honest. Oh, no. It's still behind the scenes. I talked about this yesterday on the video that's like going nowhere because my channel is getting suppressed, but it's all about her celebrating the random 18th anniversary of Gossip Girl, which is so random. All right, let's look at Taylor. All right. Please not Nightbot. You guys are hilarious. Oh, Taylor. Okay. Does anyone actually believe the story we're being fed, first of all? So are we at least all on the same page that something, as they would say these days, doesn't pass the sniff test with this Taylor Swift ex-con keeps stalking me? Wait, that's the wrong one. Damn it, wrong one. Click the wrong one. TMZ, I thought it was the one. Where is it? Wow, hers moves fast. That's how fast her freaking... Let's see if we can pull up the Daily Mail. Her news cycle is very short. There's always news. But does anyone believe this? First of all, that it's legit. Yeah, you guys are saying no. At 2 a.m., no. Yeah. Because it was at Star first, then TMZ. I missed that it was at Star first. Okay, that's funny. That is actually funny. I missed that. I thought TMZ was the first one. So thank you for letting us know about that. That is really good. I needed the laugh. So Taylor Swift has man arrested at fiance Travis Kelce's home while trying to serve her deposition papers from Justin Baldoni. The one thing I don't get with all of this, first off the bat, is the last filing we got from Venable, which is Taylor's lawyers, was saying, yeah, we're all in communication. Like, if we've agreed upon the date, and if basically what happened was the judge said, no, you cannot depose her at end of October. And so we had assumed, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I don't even play one on TV, but we had assumed that what would happen next is she would get a subpoena. But I highly doubt Justin was sending someone at 2 a.m. And how do you even, I imagine a gated community. So you get through a gated community to climb over the wall at his house at 2 a.m. for the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, when you're already in contact with her lawyers, who I would imagine would just to prevent a shit show and bad headlines right now, would just accept the subpoena on behalf of her. See, and that's the thing. I would imagine her lawyers would accept for her. But if they're not, then that opens up a lot more questions. If there is someone trying to serve her, now there's people saying, like, maybe that's why she hasn't been around. You're not seeing her publicly because she's trying to avoid being served. I have seen that narrative going around, especially on X. Is she trying to avoid being served? Now there's a bunch of articles coming out there saying, no, it's because of safety. But there are some people saying Not necessarily that this guy was from Justin, but there is a potential that she might be trying to avoid it. Not saying that like this was from Justin's team, but there's a potential she's avoiding it. I could see it because she has been harder to pin down lately. She hasn't been going into any shows, and she's been saying it's a security concern. It might be. We'll discuss that in a minute. But anyway, apparently this guy was taken into custody at 2 a.m. on September 15th, just 2 days after a judge overseeing the defamation SH lawsuits between Baldoni 41 and Swift's former bestie, Blake Lively, denied a request to depose the singer. It's unknown if Fisher was successful in serving the pop star, who was reportedly also dealing with an alleged stalker before his arrest. Swift was pulled in a legal battle between Baldoni. We already know that. So this is the home that apparently he was trying to serve her at. Like, what door do you go to? It's just so, I don't know. I'm imagining it's gated. I'm imagining, especially if Taylor's on property, which there is no proof she's in Kansas right now. Is that where he lives? Yeah, Kansas. There's no proof right now she's there. You're just going to walk up to this mansion and hope what? You pick the office or something at 2 a.m. and she's up late working? I don't understand. But Fisher told Star of the incident, I wasn't hurt or anything besides being arrested for doing my job and possibly losing my private eye license. He's scheduled to appear in Leawood Municipal Court on October 15th. I don't know. It just doesn't add up for me. Just doesn't add up for me. Apparently this guy's like an ex-cop. Someone was saying on Reddit, they're saying that he had been let go, allegedly. I don't know, because of DV charges. I don't know. Those are, I think, at this point, just rumors. But either way, he's allegedly an ex-cop and he's creeping up to someone's house at 2 a.m., Taylor Swift's house at 2 a.m. Something just doesn't add up to me. I don't know. She's not in Kansas anymore. I mean, that makes me think of the Wizard of Oz, but I genuinely also don't think she's in Kansas anymore. I believe that was orchestrated by Blake and Ryan. Ken's found all the connections. It's possible. It's possible. I wouldn't put it past them. Now, here's the bigger thing in terms of Taylor Swift right now. So I have no doubt there is actual, especially after you have, I have to be careful with words I use because my channel is suppressed due to words I've been using. But after what happened to Charlie Kirk, I have no doubt everyone that is a public figure is a little bit nervous right now, that security is heightened right now. It is interesting to see that there are a lot of stories being pushed around her safety. And I don't doubt that there's security issues. I don't doubt she always has security issues. But it's also interesting to me how it's so heavy on her page. Like, here's the thing. Taylor has narrative control, is what I'm getting at. She has narrative control. If she doesn't want something trending within 24 hours, it's not going to be trending anymore. We have the issues with someone allegedly being arrested at her house, which is crazy. Wouldn't even be surprised if Blake and Ryan set that up. We have the restraining order granted, thankfully, the ex-convict stalker that's going after her. I can't even imagine all the stalkers she has. I wouldn't want her life, to be honest. No, thank you. We have a lot of articles starting to come out within the last 24 hours as well over why she's been missing games. And a lot of it is pushing on the security issue piece. I do wonder, not that she set up this thing at her house. I'm not saying that. But I do wonder if there's a piece of it of leveraging the aspect of like, how do I want to say this? Because I don't want people to misrepresent me. I know people are going to misrepresent what I'm about to say. But leveraging the aspect of like the almost security risk in multiple ways and using that instead as it being headlines against her or bad headlines against her, because you have a couple ways you can access the PR of it all, right? It's like either this is bad for your PR, this is bad for your name, these are headlines you don't want, or you take control of the narrative with it of like, yeah, This is the shit that's happening. These are the risks that happen as being this big star. And what it does ultimately is it's not that those stories are not true, right? I don't want people to misrepresent what I'm saying. It's not that they are not true, but you have control of the narrative around them. And what we're seeing right now for anyone that's been on X, especially, is the Swifties are going like crazy, and the bots are going crazy right now defending Taylor. You say anything about Taylor that could be taken even slightly negatively right now, and everyone's on high alert going after people to control the to control the narrative. So again, it's this like almost leveraging these headlines. And hey, I get people pissed at me by even saying that Taylor Swift uses PR. I legit get people pissed at me for even saying Taylor Swift uses PR. But there is an aspect of it where there is this leveraging of the headlines right now to turn it into controlled narratives. Because if any of this wasn't wanted anywhere on these pages, they wouldn't be there. There'd be control around it. But I'm very happy that she's getting control of these stalker issues. Yeah, we have like, look at it just flooding. And you see it online. I see it online. I even just, oh my goodness, Leanne, hello for Goat Feed. Aw, thank you so much. That's so kind. Thank you, guys. The craziness that's going on online on X of people coming for Justin supporters from the Swiftie camp is insane. Oh yeah, I agree. The 2 a.m. subpoena is super sus. There is something weird going on about that. Someone set it up. I find it so hard to believe it is actually Justin's team. Yeah. Make her look unsafe. Swiftie's queen. Blame Justin in the court case. And it's controlled. And Misfit Herds in here saying, goat say thanks. That's where we have live feeds of the goats. I've been really busy today, so we haven't got a live feed up today, but that Misfit Herds TV is our goat channel. But yeah, and here's the thing when we're looking at PR, it's not that it's fake, right? I'm not saying that it's fake that these things have happened to her. I'm not saying it's fake that there's security concerns. Taylor is going to have an everyday security concern. Every day of her life is a security concern. Unfortunately, you wouldn't want me to be, not enough money in the world would get me into that role of her life. I give her a lot of credit, and that controlling the narrative, because yes, there are a lot of Swifties that are like jumping and defending her in many ways. You cannot say anything about Swift right now without people jumping. And what potentially controlled chaos can do is funnel it into launches. Not saying that's what she's doing. I'm saying that can be done where controlled chaos is funneled into launches and really kind of like rallying the troops behind you, if you will. But yeah, this is just, well, and I agree with you too, my friend. All the security in the world can't stop some situations. And that's the truth. Even Charlie Kirk had at least 6 retired Navy SEALs protecting him. It's scary to be famous now for sure. Yep. And exactly. That's the scary thing. And why I said I would never want that role. I like a quiet life. I don't want to worry about that. Thank you so much, Glow. Like Johnny Depp, TS can't go anywhere without security. Yeah, I don't want that life. She says jump. They say how high. Exactly. I'm so glad I have a community that could see what I am saying. And I'm not saying it's something nefarious. It is just PR. You turn something into narrative on your side that works for you. But I definitely think someone set this thing up. Someone sent that man there, and I would be shocked. All we've been shown over and over again is that Justin, Wayfarer, Jamie Heath has been on the up and up. And then you want me to believe that they sent a man at 2 a.m.? And even not just that, but they thought it would work to go after her at 2 a.m.? Like, what? Doesn't even make any sense. The whole story doesn't make sense to me. But if you look at it, every story that's trending is a story essentially around protect Taylor. Like, look at everything that's going on. And I have no doubt that's going on. But it's also just interesting to see that those stories are trending, because I'm telling you, stories don't trend unless she wants them to trend. Thank you so much, MDR. Thank you. You guys are so kind. TS has real security concerns and doesn't want to be deposed. Oh, yeah, I don't believe she does. Yeah, I believe that too. Sorry, I believe that she doesn't want to be deposed. But I doubt she'll lie for Blake Lively. JB's team may just need to use her text messages and call her as a witness if needed. The strategy needs to be the facts. Yep, I agree with you. Stick to the facts. Exactly. That might be what happens. I'll be honest, guys. I'm going to be completely honest. Seeing Taylor and I get it. Have your life, go to your girlfriend's parties and such. But seeing her say, I don't have any time to be deposed between now and the end of October, and then out celebrating Brittany Mahomes' birthday, I'm like, but really? You really have no time to be deposed, but you're out at a birthday party? I don't know. That didn't sit right with me, to be honest. And I agree with you guys. She could do it over Zoom. 100%. Oh, that's a good point. She could testify via satellite like Kate Moss. That's a good point too. But yeah, that didn't sit right with me. It's like, girl, I don't know. And she has a full team that's going to be covering everything for her as well within her business. I mean, she's a $1 billion corporation at this point. And then when we're looking at Justin Baldoni's, and Justin really, at the end of the day, couldn't really afford bad news. You know what I mean? Like bad headlines at the end of the day. We were looking at 2.4% positive social sentiment. And so it really gets me upset that all of this is being pinned on Justin. And do we even know for sure? Maybe I missed one of the articles, but did this guy say yes, Justin Baldoni sent me? I don't know. Maybe he did. Page 6. I mean, it's everywhere. Former cop turned private eye. Oh my gosh, page 6 with all your ads. Turned private eye was allegedly arrested. We know that. Yeah. Oh, there it is. According to Star. Yeah. Okay. Justin Lee Fisher was charged with jumping the fence on a private residence in a private neighborhood. Officers were dispatched to a private gated neighborhood shortly after 2 a.m. and the man was arrested on misdemeanor charge of criminal trespassing. Not to go conspiracy theory level, but do we even know this happened? I don't know. So apparently this person will be in court on October 15th. So Fisher, nor reps for Swift, Kelsey, or Baldoni respond to our request for comment. Because this happened the 15th or something. I don't think, yeah. Wait, no, that's October 15th. I thought this happened a few days ago. 2 days before the arrest, the judge overseeing Justin Baldoni's ongoing legal battle with Blake Lively denied a request from the actor's legal team for an extension. Yeah, I don't know. Such a bad picture of Blake. I don't know, guys. Something's up. I can't say for sure who set this up. I can't say for sure who did this, but I will say that this does not feel right to me. Something's weird here. Where was the one comment that I agree? The mods are amazing, aren't they? Thank you for thanking the mods. They're amazing. Distractions, agree. Where's the one? Yeah, and his name just happens to be Justin. So there's your keyword hijacking. Hello, I thought it was a process server. He's a PI. Yeah, it's it changes every story. It changes every story. One story, he's a private investigator. Maybe he's both. I don't know. Yeah, here it is. No time. You have no time to either help your alleged SH bestie, godmother of your children, or come defend an innocent man. And that's just what doesn't sit well with me. I'm with you on that. I would, if I was involved from the get-go, I'd want to clear the air on what happened as soon as my name was involved. And I thought, oh shit, they might think I'm involved in some way. I would clear the air. I don't understand how it's gone on this long, but either she's not backing up her friend, and she knows her friend was SH'd, and she knows her friend was on a toxic set, like Blake and her lawyers claim, or she knows Blake is lying because those text messages and messages never happened, and she's not coming to the defense of a man that is being falsely accused. And neither of those sit well with me, especially if you had nothing to do with it. Exactly. If you had nothing to do with it, and you either know there's an innocent man or a woman that was SH'd, and you had nothing to do with it. So all you have to do is clear the air. I'm sorry, Swifties. The only thing I can think is you're trying to protect your reputation in some way. You don't want something coming out. Taylor's in a pickle because both sides have her text messages, which have stuff she doesn't want people to see. And that's true too. Being Switzerland isn't always best. Yep. Well, and there's that. Everyone's pretending Taylor Swift isn't catty AF. I think she's mad at Blake for calling her out on it, probably. And this is what I've said over and over again. You know, if she doesn't want something trending, it doesn't trend. When you get to that level, the reality is even bad headlines, you can believe me or not, it's fine. Throw it in the fuck it bucket if you don't want to believe me. But when you get to that level, you best believe that if you don't want something out there, if you don't want a headline, if you don't want a story running, they don't run when you're at that level. They just don't. Headlines disappear, documentaries, exposés disappear, shit disappears. When you're at that level, like one way she could do it right is where she had the trending headlines in regards to private jet use. This is one of the most studied examples of SEO manipulation in pop culture. So she went to a Jets game. And everyone thought it was weird at the time how her name was in all these headlines. And people were saying, well, it's just because Taylor Swift was there and it's Taylor Swift. Well, not really, guys. Not really. This is all PR. It's all PR. So she had gone to the Jets game and all these headlines came out. And well, wouldn't you know it, within like 24 hours, it was very tough to find any headlines in regards to Taylor Swift's private jet use and the impact on the environment because they disappeared. They were gone. They were buried. They were SEO manipulation. So when I say like, if she doesn't want something trending, something's not going to trend. The reality is it doesn't, because she's that powerful, and good on her. She's worked her ass off to be that powerful. And I just have a really hard time to believe that either you know that you're not involved, you did nothing wrong, and either your friend was SH'd or someone's being falsely accused, and you're playing catch me if you can. And it's also interesting to me that Isabel Ferrer got dragged over the rails for how she handled it, when at the end of the day, this might not be popular to say, but I'm going to say it. Taylor Swift didn't really handle it a whole lot different than Isabella. Basically, what Venable said was subpoena her, force her. If she's forced, she'll do it. So she didn't actually respond in any different way than how Isabella did. And yeah, exactly, Glow. When they want press, they call the paps themselves. Exactly. Celebrities have back doors to get into restaurants and wherever they're going. They have ways to be unseen. If they are seen, they want to be seen. It's all the PR of it. You know, I said recently in the Your 90-Day PR Playbook, it's one of my courses. We're on module 5, but it's self-paced. You can dive in. I do have one coming up in October, which is the beginner YouTube roadmap for those that are looking to start a YouTube channel the right way, without fancy equipment, without spending a fortune on fancy equipment. But one of the things I had said recently is, when we're looking at PR, which is essentially reputation management and narrative control, that's what it is. That's why everyone needs it, because PR is just reputation management and narrative control. Well, it's just as dangerous to have no one talking about you. Yes, you want people talking about you in the way that you've built your reputation, but it's just as dangerous to have no one talking about you. So absolutely, you're right. They have They call the paps on themselves. They do pap walks because they can get into things and places without being seen. 100%. 100%. But yeah, I don't know. I think the whole thing, this situation is really sad. Hallmark movie star 35 died because Vegas restaurant staff halted CPR during medical emergency. Mike Heslin. I saw that just on my news this morning. So sad. There's a new lawsuit opened up in regards to that. But yeah, I mean, the whole situation just doesn't sit right with me in regards to Taylor. It just doesn't. And I know people will be upset with me saying that, but well, and that's true too. Why don't we call it what it is? No reputation management, but outright manipulation. Well, PR, yes, is reputation management, but it does bleed over into outright manipulation 100%. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Reputation management isn't necessarily bad in and of itself, but I agree with you. When it goes out into outright manipulation, absolutely. Yeah, that's why you guys want to hang out. Like, subscribe, and be here for tonight's stream, or I'm going to put it up as probably a premiere. I still have to record it. But about Jed Wallace. So we're going to talk about maybe some black hat SEO that he's been doing. Yeah, Taylor has a stalker right now that vanished. There's just so much weird stuff that's going on right now. Like, things just don't add up overall for me in many ways with this case. It's certainly a PR issue. Maybe she does not want any negative coverage before her album comes out and she ensures her album sales are complete. No doubt about that. But then that also, and hey, everyone has different values. Everyone has different levels of morals and integrity. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Literally wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I was playing Catch Me If You Can because I was worried about some headlines. Now, you could also argue that maybe they have already successfully subpoenaed her and the headlines that are coming out are part of protecting her and shielding her should something not beneficial to her headlines come out later. That's also a possibility. Naughty Jed. Oh my gosh. Wait until I was up till maybe 11 last night finding stuff for you guys. I'm not saying he did anything in this case, but oof, the stuff I found. When do I normally go live, Sydney? I usually 11, between 10 and 11 a.m. Eastern. This week, typically it's Monday through Friday with the occasional Saturday. We do a members only live on Saturdays. But this week's been so crazy. So I didn't go live yesterday because I've been trying to catch up on client calls and client work. So sometimes I do miss a day, but you guys will always get a video regardless. If I miss a day, you're still going to get a video. It'll just be pre-recorded. I fit it in between client calls. Oh my gosh, 1 a.m. That's dedication. Oh my goodness. Thank you for being here. I'm dying for Jed T learning patience tonight. It's going to be worth the wait. Wait till you see it. Exactly, Ashley. What kind of person is the one that has information and says nothing? I'm with you on that. Oh, they are the best. I'm so glad you found us. We have a really good community. We hold high standards for the community here, so it doesn't devolve. I threatened Nightbot at one point in time. See Nightbot in the chat. I did Nightbot once, and it just like everyone was like, okay, I'm not playing games anymore. We're gonna be on our best behavior because Nightbot. But no, it is an amazing community here, really. But yes, typically if you're newer to the channel, between 10 and 11 a.m. Eastern so we have a farm animal sanctuary and a farm and 3 rescue dogs. So I do prefer 10 a.m. Eastern, but with the sun coming up later, it tends to lean towards 11, unfortunately, by the time I can get on. But yes. Threatened Nightbot. Oh yeah, it was a good time. It was a funny time. High standards rules me. Well, yeah, sorry, Bruce. We're going to kick you out. That rules me out. Go support Bruce. We love Bruce here. Yeah. How do you keep skirting by? You keep. No, I'm just teasing. We love you here, Bruce. All right, my friends. That's what I have for you this morning. Oh, I don't know. Blake is crazy. Something sketchy is going on with the whole Taylor Swift PR of it all right now, and something sketchy is going on with that rando that was at her house or Travis's house at 2 a.m. A lot doesn't make sense to me, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what's going on. Thank you to the mods. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Yes, like the stream before you go. We don't want to be anywhere Bruce isn't welcome. And with that, guys, make sure to hit get notifications. I am going to film right after lunch the Jed Wallace stuff. You're going to want to see that. And that will probably go up between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern. All right, my friends, with that, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.